Divorce Day Diaries, day 341, and I used to be a case manager at Work and Income. In fact, I worked at MSD for like 8 years. I did the study link thing with student loans and allowances. I trained people on things like accommodation supplement and disability allowance and temporary additional support. I did student hardships. I then went over to Work and Income and I did the whole Work and Income thing, case manager. I helped work brokers put people into work. Did a little stint as a program coordinator with the employment programs. The whole point of me chatting about all this is that firstly, it's a hard job. Nobody ever goes into Work and Income on a good day, right? If you've had a good day, you don't need to go to Work and Income. As such, every single day that you're working there, you could be dealing with someone on the worst day of their life. And as such, there is a high staff turnover. Just be aware that if they've ever made a mistake with your benefit, it's not on purpose. It's more likely that the case manager has only been there like 6 weeks and is unaware of the fact that you can have a portion of your food costs included in your disability allowance if that is part of your disability. But the point that I'm trying to get to is the fact that my first wife recently came to me because she had started work and she was interested in how that's going to affect her benefit rates. She was a stay-at-home parent after all prior to the separation. And as I was working all that out, I kind of realised that other people who watch this content might be interested in knowing how payments work, how working might affect that. So let's have a chat about that. So before we get started, there are a couple of things I need to point out. Firstly, as of 1st of April, the benefit rates are likely changing, so this information is going to be out of date in like 7 days. But it's fine. Secondly, I haven't worked there in a few years and there's a good chance that I might mess something up or forget something. It is a lot more complex than it sounds. But firstly, let's pretend that I've lost my job and I am going on a benefit. So I am a single parent and I have 4 kids. Effectively, I'd be going on to the benefit and I'd be getting sole parent support, which would entitle me to... I probably should have written this down. Okay, I've just double checked. $505.80. Done and dusted. No, I'm kidding, it's a bit more complex than that. Now that we've got the benefit out of the way, we now need to work out our family tax credits. People on the benefit get family tax credits. People who are working also get family tax credits. I still get family tax credits working out because I have 4 children. Working out that rate is easy because you can just go onto the IRD website, give them their details, they have a family tax credit calculator and it'll pump out a number. That amount, which I've just had to go away and check because I forgot as well, is about $498 a week. So combined you're getting about $1,000. And if you're thinking that's a lot of money, bear in mind that family tax credits, you can get that while working. And in fact, you'll probably get more due to a little thing called in-work tax credit, but we'll cover that in a moment because we're not yet done. Next thing I want to talk about is the accommodation supplement. Now, this is quite complex and this is the sort of thing that takes like a whole day to train someone. I don't have enough time in a TikTok video, so I'm going to give you a really quick summary. First off, the flat benefit rate, $505.80, that's the same for all sole parents. Family tax credits, you get more for every extra child you have. It's about $120 odd or something like that, which is why it's so much, because I have 4 kids. Now, the accommodation supplement, that pays you out. If you're a sole parent with 1 kid, you get less than you're a sole parent with 2 kids. But a sole parent with 3 kids gets the same amount as a sole parent with 2 kids. I know, it's a 2+ system. I didn't make the system, okay? And you also get a different rate depending on where you are living in the country. Someone in Auckland can get paid more than someone in Christchurch. For me, paying $660 a week of rent, I would get the maximum amount of the Christchurch rate of accommodation supplement for a sole parent with 2+ children, which is $220 a week. And the income threshold on that is really high, so if you're working, you can still potentially get accommodation supplement. So this is my total. Now, let's say, for example, I'm going to start work part-time, 20 hours a week on minimum wage. How would that affect those rates? Let's work backwards, starting with that accommodation supplement. And the reason for that is because working at 20 hours of minimum wage will not affect my accommodation supplement. I can still get the full $220 a week. So, that's fine. Done and dusted. Unaffected. How does that affect my family tax credits? I actually think I'm going to get more because of something called an in-work tax credit. If you are working 20 hours a week as a sole parent or 30 hours as a couple, you get the in-work tax credit. Let me quickly confirm that with IRD and I'll be back. So I have confirmed with IRD that family tax credit rate is $610 per week. So yes, that is an increase on the $498 you were getting before because you started work. Congratulations. But now we need to talk about the benefit, and this is where things start getting a wee bit confusing. Because with sole parent support, right? How do I even begin? So I've actually had to write some stuff down. So your minimum wage at 20 hours a week is $470 of income minus tax. That's another thing, we're not going to talk about that today. But how that affects your sole parent support is you can earn up to $160 without it affecting your benefit at all. That's about like 6 or 7 hours of work. From there, $160 to $250, you get 30 cents deducted off your benefit for every dollar you earn. And then after $250, you get 70 cents deducted off your benefit for every dollar you earn. How I like to work this out is that I take that flat amount, $470 that you're earning, you minus $250 from that, and then you take the remaining number. We're in maths class now. This is why I say this is complex. You times that by 0.7, and that gives you $154. So that's the 70 cent deduction. You now have to figure out the 30 cent deduction, which is easy because every single time between $160 and $250, it's going to be $27. So you just add that $27 to the $154, which gets you $181. We minus that from our benefit rate, which we established before was $505.80, and that leaves us with $324.80. So I can still get $324.80 of benefit, even though I'm working 20 hours a week, and I can then add on my family tax credits of $610, my accommodation supplement of $220, and you can see that I'm way better off now that I'm working 20 hours a week. Something I missed out from this is temporary additional support, which someone who is paying $660 of rent a week is going to be getting, but I didn't want to cover that today because it is really complex and I wouldn't be able to fit that all into one video. But if you're interested in this sort of stuff, you're interested in figuring out how this sort of stuff works, I can go into a bit more detail on different aspects of benefit life. Let me know. Let me know. It is a confusing system, and it's important that you know what you are entitled to so that you can get the right money to support you and your family. But otherwise, that's enough maths for one day. I hope your head doesn't hurt too much. And I will catch you on the flip side.